Greetings, Guardians. So, as you all may know, Bungie did a Twitch stream this morning, actually, in Australia time, regarding the Taken King. Now, I'm going to go through and I'm going to talk about a few of the things that we actually get to see and let you know. This is basically just going to be recap. So this is not the whole stream in entirely. This is just the parts that I found interesting and just the parts that we're going to talk about. We will be talking about most of it, so it's probably going to be about 85–90% of it, but it's not the whole video stream. I will put a link on the description below. I'll try and do it anyway, so that you guys can actually watch the whole stream if you were interested. So, starting now. So the first thing that I found interesting through the stream was the fact that they were talking about the light level. Now, it has been confirmed in the Twitch stream, the max light level that you'll be able to get, or character level, will be 40, but you will get your light on top of that. Now, as you can see here, he's level 34, and he still obviously can go to level 35. He can go up to 40, and the level there is 186 for light. Now, they have also confirmed that all of your armor, weapons, ghost, all that combined will be giving you your light, and it's an average light. So from my understanding, say you've got 6 pieces, or say your all your armor and all your guns is 186, and then your ghost is say 160, your light level will be lower than slightly than 186. So it's all averaged out to give you an attack. Which basically means that, for example, if you're running around with a ghost that's only going to give you, say, 200 light and everything else is 300, then obviously you're going to be handicapping yourself. So guys, first things first, it looks like it's going to be important to get that light level up. It will impact on your attack and on your defense. So it does matter, and it is important. But they've also gone through and said that it's not going to be a big step up like it was with the previous light. You know, there's not going to be much difference. For example, say you're 186 and then you go to 190. It's not going to be a big difference. It's only slight, and it's like a sliding scale sort of thing. So obviously, yeah. But obviously there'll be a big difference between, like, say 120 and 180, for example. So guys, obviously that's the important thing. First things first, obviously try and make sure all your gear is maxed up as much as you can. And that's the first thing that I found that was really important. It was really interesting. Now the next thing I found interesting was when they actually started talking about pieces of armor. You'll notice here that some of the armor goes up to require levels 40. Now I presume, as they said, this is going to be endgame content. So obviously, you know, that's why they want you to be level 40 for that. But it also means that you're not going to be able to go through, run the raid when you're level 34, and then go through, get someone to carry you, get the gear and put it on, similar to what it was with the previous light. Now obviously that 40 is your character level, not your light level, and that's obviously something that was interesting too. Here also you'll notice that your cooldowns will actually give you a timer. So for example, there you just saw that it was actually 1 minute for your cooldown for, I think it was for the grenade, or it might have been the disintegrate. And obviously, so the more intellect you have, obviously that will then go through and then obviously reduce that, and it'll actually reduce the timer. So instead of just getting some stupid bar to say, hey, your super's almost ready, or hey, you almost got enough to throw a grenade, it's actually going to let you know how long it takes. So you can obviously see with your armor and stuff what weapons and what armor works best with obviously grenade cooldowns. Now, next thing I found interesting was quests. Now, quests seem to be a lot like bounties, where they actually allow you to go through, actually do something, or do a certain mission or something that they've got in whatever they've got, and allow you to go through and actually complete it for the rewards. Now obviously different quests have different rewards, different things obviously to do. It does look like they are trying to mix up the bounties a little bit. You'll also notice here that you can actually carry 16 bounties. And as you can see as they go through them, that there are a lot more different bounties that are obviously different. You know, 30 kills with void ability. So they're throwing in some elemental bounties and stuff like that as well. That was definitely cool because obviously, let's face it, we're all getting sick of doing the same quests over and over and over. Or bounties over and over, excuse me. And also they've gone through and they've put a thing where you can actually go through and track your bounties or track your quests. So for example here, when you press your bring up your ghost, you'll see it on the actual right side there on the screen. It actually brings up the bounties and what you've done and what you need to do and stuff like that. So you don't need to keep going back to the quest page to go through and to see which ones you've got to do and what you've got to get done and etc, etc, etc. So I definitely thought that was interesting. I also like the fact that we got up to 16 now. So that's definitely interesting as well. And obviously, yeah, you can go through and pick your quests and do your bounties as per usual. Now, the next thing they're going to go on, as you'll see, they'll go to the infantry screen and you'll see this spark of light. Now, what happens is this spark of light can be used to actually go through and to get a character level 1 up to level 25 like that. Now, obviously, this is going to be very important for any of the new players coming to Destiny. And it's also going to be important for people like my partner who's got one main character. She is building up a second and she has made a third character. But at the end of the day, she hasn't had time to go through and to get herself up to level 34 on 2 or 3 other characters. So she's going to be able to go through, like all the people that are new and haven't got 2 or 3 characters, will be able to go through, use this spark of light and build it up to level 25. Now that'll get you into the in-game content for Destiny, and it's obviously a way to get people straight into the Taken King without having to do the missions. That said, I would encourage everybody, if you're a new character or new player to Destiny, I would advise you to do the story missions at least once. I know they can be a major bummer and shit, but at the end of the day, the missions are kind of important because it does give you a little bit of a storyline. Notice the key phrase, little bit. Does give you a little bit of a storyline and a backstory, and obviously it's going to help the game flow, I think, a little bit more smoother. But obviously that's your choice and your prerogative. That would be my suggestion. Now, I don't know if this spark of light will be available as per account or as per character. Meaning if you've got 1 and you make 2 more, do you get 2 more spark? That is I'm not sure of as of yet, but obviously it'll definitely help get your first character up. Also, I'm not sure what happens if you've already started a character and you're like level 9 and then you obviously got to go through and work your way up. And you might have to delete that character and then obviously go through and to restart it to obviously go through and to get that spark. Now in this frame or in this shot, you're actually going to see the speaker. Now as you'll all notice, obviously your speaker still has your material exchange, so that is obviously, you know, standard as usual, but you will notice the extra additional ghosts down the bottom. Now there was rumors coming out that obviously ghosts would play an important part in the Taken King. It has been confirmed via this Twitch stream. Now obviously here I'll get to the ghost in a sec when he brings it up, but here this is obviously going through. There are new attributes or modifiers that have been put onto the armor, and also your class items as well. So here you'll see there's a few new modifiers that have been put on. They're no longer just, you know, a useless piece of decoration. They do all obviously have certain attributes and certain modifiers to help with certain situations. So it's going to be important for you guys to go through and to check those out and to make sure that you've got the right one that you want for obviously the right reasons. So that's definitely something to have a look at too. Now in this shot, he's going to go through and he'll have a look at the ghosts, and I wanted to show you guys this because this will also show you what the ghosts do and don't do. So now this is the Winter Sky shell, just a standard ghost shell, and it says that detects marks nearby Spirit Bloom. Now that's obviously a new modifier that has been put onto a ghost shell. and definitely something that would obviously, I presume it would show on your radar, maybe even show you on the screen. To give you an idea on the second one, obviously detects marks nearby Spirit Bloom. Okay, so those two are the same. And the third one, probably going to be the same again. Detects some marks nearby Spirit Bloom. Okay, so obviously there's just three different colors for three different ghosts. He goes to the end one here and detects, and you'll notice it actually says helium. So there are different ones for obviously for different things. Now I presume obviously the first three, the only variation between them will be the color. Just in case you want a green, blue or red ghost, it's up to you. Now what they're going to do now is actually go and show you guys the emblem terminal. Now this is down here near the speaker. You access your emblems through this terminal, and it's going to bring up all of the emblems that you've had over a certain point of time. Now the ones that you don't have or you haven't already got will obviously be grayed out, but obviously the ones that you have got you can get, and I believe you can buy as many of them as you want. So if you've got 3 characters, theoretically you should be able to go through and buy 3 lots of the same emblem if you wanted to. Good thing also is if you delete them, you can just go back to the emblem collection and obviously get it again. Now obviously I'm not sure of the cost on the emblems. It's not really showing that, so it might be a free thing, I'm not quite sure. But also it's a good idea to give you an idea or keep track of what emblems you've got, and obviously let know which ones that you've got to get. As you see here, Deej still has to do Skolos on the 35. I presume that's why he hasn't got the emblem for that, considering the thing drops like candy. Apart from that, obviously there's some more Taken King for emblems, just to give you a look at what they look like. Definitely not bad looking. Now in this shot you'll actually see him go through and have a look at the new Monarchy. This is actually quite interesting. Here, accept allegiances. And now this will be a new feature that comes into the Taken King, where you actually can go through and actually accept allegiances to multiple fractions. Now I presume what will happen is, say there's a reward of say 200 points and you've got 2 allegiances. I'm presuming that obviously it's going to be 100 apiece. We're not confirmed that yet. We're still quite unsure. So that'll be definitely something that we'll obviously have to check out when it gets closer to the date. It does cost money to accept, and I believe they said you can only do it once a week, or you can only accept allegiance from that certain one once a week, or change it once a week. So you know, but at the end of the day, if you can have multiple, then I don't know why anybody wouldn't just put them all on and leave them on. Maybe if you get high enough on one, you can turn it off, but good for leveling them all up, I suppose. Now in the next shot they'll go through, they'll actually have a look at the armor and have a look at what he's got. This was quite interesting. He does have material exchange, as per other bounties or other vendors, so that's obviously something new that's coming in. I believe he sells parts, but we'll get to that in a sec. So there you can actually see the robes, see the chest armor for a warlock. Now you can see they've obviously got newer tribs on it as well, so that's all different. That one, recovery for 5 seconds after solar, taking solar splash damage. So stuff like that will obviously come into handy when it comes into nightfalls and stuff like that if it's solar burn. Increased armor while solar based subclass, obviously. So it seems like there's going to be a lot more modifications that you can do with your armor, to sort of, you know, boost up certain things. Looks like Destiny might be getting a little bit more complicated, which is good. It was very simple at the stage, so that's definitely something that's obviously going to be interesting. Obviously you're going to have to be wearing the right armor for the right situations. Now in this shot you're going to have a look at your material exchange. So as you see there, as he quickly flicks over it, geez Deej, slow down a little bit buddy. So Mode of Light, obviously, yep, weapon parts, armor materials, special ammo synthesis and heavy ammo synthesis. So obviously this will allow you to go through, increase your fraction rating by actually donating those parts to the fraction to obviously help build your rank up. Now obviously there are also auto rifles that are coming in. There's a whole stack of new rifles. This is obviously the Suros auto rifle. So it looks like Suros is getting a brand. It's going to become a bigger brand. And obviously then there's a objections, what's that, objection 4. So they'll show you that. Now as you may be aware, all of these obviously do have same troops or better troops. So there are some that are a little bit different. So that's obviously something that's worthwhile too. You notice that all the Ascension is gone. We'll get to that in a sec because that's an interesting section. So you're not going to be able to, unfortunately for all the old legendary gear, you know, your fangs, your black hammers and all that, it was confirmed earlier, but just to recap on that, guys, it is going to be pretty much obsolete after the first few weeks. But look, I'm going to keep my raid weapons, or just one set of raid weapons, just for posterity. But apart from that, these guns are going to be going through and replacing because it's a whole new. Okay, so in this video, you're going to go and see Lord Shax. Now, obviously, Shax can also go through and give you bounties and quests to do. As you see here coming up, Crucible Forge, accept quests. Now, their quests from Shax is obviously going to be very much relating on Crucible. So it's going to be presumably things like kill 5 hunters or kill 30 hunters, or there you go, kills with 2+ control zones. So it's obviously 1 out of, or 0 out of 8. So that'll obviously go through, and you've got to kill 2 people plus while holding on control zones, I believe. Or maybe killing people while holding more than 2 control zones. Kills with 2+ control zones. So yeah, so kills while holding more than one control zone, I presume. But obviously there's a whole stack of new quests, new bounties. Obviously win crucibles, obviously the standards. Obviously there are a few new ones in that. And there is obviously a lot of old ones. The ending one there, or the last one, is actually quite interesting. You actually get to hand in that bounty or do that bounty while you have all the other ones done. So it's like Aaron Morn's bounty for 5 or more in a day, except obviously there it's talking about Crucible. So if you go through and do all of them in a week, I think it's a week, you will, in 1 week, you'll actually go through and get an extra reward. And apparently it's quite a decent reward too. So that's obviously something that they're trying to push, and definitely interesting. Obviously he's got ghost shells as well. These ghost shells will obviously have modifiers on them that are relating to Crucible. So increased strength bonus provided, increase the intellect bonus. Obviously, you know, depending on what ghost shells you get as to what's the modifiers on it. But they all look like they're fairly new, and different designs as well. Obviously there's class specific ones, and I presume there's ones that aren't. But obviously that's something that we can have a look at, and I presume they change probably once a week. Apart from that, then obviously apart from that, the only thing really is the armor. Now he's got the chest armor there he's showing. Obviously that'll have different modifiers on it as well. Obviously you've got to be rank 3 for the helmet, rank 1 for boots and gloves, and rank 2 for chest armor. And obviously I presume also the class items are specific for obviously the class that you're in. Legendary marks are going to be replacing the Crucible marks and the Vanguard marks. Now from my understanding on this, it basically where you will go through and they will sort of do some sort of mathematical equation to work out how many marks or legendary marks you should get. My advice for everybody before Destiny Taken King falls, just max out all your marks on your all characters, because apparently these marks do go across different characters, like the money or like the glimmer does. And also apparently once you've gone through and you've done your events for the week, it's not going to stop at 100. While the max you can carry is 200, if you were to spend 50 of it and then go and get in and play more Crucible, those marks will then slowly start to build up, even if the same week yet again. So that's obviously something good, because obviously a lot of people like me, for example, would do, like, for example, PvE, max out our Vanguard marks at 200, and then basically, obviously, we'll still get the rewards from doing the strikes and stuff, but it was always a bit of a waste, because obviously we didn't get any Vanguard marks, where that has obviously changed now. So you can go through and buy and do more achievements, or do more missions to get more marks within that same week. Now, obviously, this is the Crucible Quartermaster. So this is what we all want to know, the guys with the guns. So obviously, he's got bounties as well. So Crucible bounties, obviously, you know, that one there, for example, win a match, and you play this with minimal of, yep. So obviously they're going to go through. I presume they're going to change probably every day or every week. We're not quite sure yet. Obviously, there's a whole stack of new guns. And I presume obviously they got the same old modifiers, plus probably a few extras. Obviously they didn't show us a lot of the guns. And also there's vehicles there, but I don't believe they actually hovered over the Sparrows. We'll see about that in a sec. Now obviously the Crucible reputation is 0 on this, because obviously it's a test account, so that's not a big thing, not to worry. All our Crucible reputation and all our reputation will come across, so that's obviously something that's definitely interesting. Obviously a whole stack of new bounties, and they didn't go near the Sparrows. I wonder why. Now the next thing they're going to go through and show us is the exotic blueprints. Now this is obviously for the armor. And then obviously after that they'll flick over to the weapons. Now I was a little bit worried about this when it first came out, because I thought I'd have to go through and re-upgrade everything. I'm still not sure if that's the case, but it does have some advantages, so we'll have a look. Now this is obviously collection 2, so this is year 1 items. As you can see there, he's gone through and he's got a few things. Obviously this is a testing account. He has Light Beyond Nemesis, Obsidian Mine, and obviously one of the body armors. I think that might be, I'm not quite sure, but anyway, so obviously now this is the Light Beyond Nemesis. It is 160 defense, and it does have all the standard modifiers. You do need an exotic shard to buy it, and you do need 2,500 points or glimmer, so that's obviously not too bad expense. And this is obviously just for people that have gone through and accidentally deleted their previous versions. Now, if you do delete it, you will need to re-upgrade it all once again, I believe. Obviously, we can't confirm that 100%, but I presume that's how it's going to work. But obviously, they'll go through and they're going to show us the exotic armor here, and give us an idea of what the perks are that are on it. So when they click on it, here it is here. Now, obviously, the replenish health is obviously what Keeper of the Pack is, what everybody wanted it for. That's the main attribute there. Now, normally you'd have to go through, upgrade all these other things, and go to Keeper of the Pack. Now, what they've done is on the year 2 armor, you actually can go through and you don't have to worry about upgrading all those at the moment. So for the main modifier on that, will actually be available straight away. Now here's the Light Beyond Nemesis there. As you can see, Keeper of the Pack is unlocked. It is ready to go, but obviously you still will need to go through and upgrade the rest of the helmet for the other perks. Now they should go onto it and click on it hopefully soon. You will notice the defense on that is 280, so it is a higher defense value. So that's obviously something to keep in mind as well, and this will unlock as soon as you've got the year 1 version. Now it does cost legendary marks to purchase. As you can see there, Keeper of the Pack already unlocked, definitely worthwhile looking at. And then obviously increased intellect, increased discipline, they'll go through, gain bonus super energy, gain after killing minions of the dark, and obviously, yeah, etc, etc. So guys, do keep in mind it is worthwhile upgrading your helmets or buying the year 2 versions. It's not all the exotics, it's only some of them, and it looks like it's definitely going to be worthwhile for that extra defense at the very least. Plus you also get the main perk unlocked from the start. So I've gone through and skipped ahead a bit on the video here. So this is the weapons blueprint for exotics. This is on the other side of the door. So this is on the left hand side. Now when they go through, open it up for us, thank you. You'll see that's year 2, this is year 1. This will give you an idea of what you've already got on your account, and what obviously you need to upgrade. Now obviously Deej has his Galahorn, finally. I believe he went through and brought it when it was on sale last week. But obviously he still needs a few things like the Dragon's Breath. Looks like he hasn't got Patience and Time, or Plan C, or anything like that. Now some of these obviously you can go through, use 1 exotic shard and 2500 glimmer, and obviously buy these weapons if you've dismantled them or you need another one. Now keep in mind, obviously if you do that, you're going to be re-upgrading them all again, so don't get trigger happy and deleting your exotics, because otherwise it's going to be a major pain in the butt. Now obviously this is year 2 and year 1. Now obviously down the bottom it shows the year 1 primary of the Suros. Okay, that's the standard Suros that was available. Obviously all the attack has been modified, so you know it's no longer doing X amount of damage, it's all the same. Now obviously a lot of these obviously need to be unlocked, but wait for it, third one along is actually the new Suros. So guys, we are going to have a look at this bad boy. I noticed they've been very careful not to click on too many or hover over too many of them. There's the new Suros auto rifle. I love this thing. I can't wait to grab my hands on it. Guys, this thing unlocks by having original Suros, and you'll notice that I believe, don't quote me, but it looks like you can actually change between focus fire or speeding or spinning up. So guys, you know how when Suros slows down when it zooms in, looks like we can finally get rid of that friggin' option, thank God, and have a real Suros on our hands. Guys, so that's the new one. It definitely looks interesting. You notice the attack on it is 280. I believe that's higher than the original one. But that's the year 2 version of it. So just to give you some comparison between the year 1 and year 2, there's the original one, original Suros for 160. So it does do a lot less damage for attack. I'm unsure at the moment if you can go through and upgrade that, maybe infuse it, or you do what they call infusing. But obviously definitely the new Suros is going to be doing a lot more damage. Also with the auto rifle buffs that have been released, so it looks like the Suros is going to be back. Now what they're going to do now is they're going to run over and they actually go to the Crypt. Now this is interesting. Obviously the Crypt ranking will obviously be brought over from the new. This is obviously testing counts. He has exotic engrams, legendary engrams, sorry. He is selling them, and guys, they will be legendary items. Okay. Now they do require legendary marks to buy. It appears like it's going to be everything in the game is going to be legendary marks, and it's definitely something that allows you to go through and to try your luck at maybe getting some decent guns or decent armor or whatever it may be, class items or whatever it may be for your character. Now like I say, that ranking will obviously be brought over. This is just simply a testing account, so obviously the ranking on that is 0. And yeah, and the second last thing they're going to show us is the Gunsmith. Now unlike all the other rankings, this guy will be on 0 because it is new. So don't freak out when you see a Gunsmith at 0. It's just because it's a new ranking system for him. Now he does go through and sell some auto rifles and rare items, but he also has what he calls the field test weapons. Now by doing these field tests, it will actually allow you to increase your rank. So that's one way to obviously build up your reputation with him as well. Now I presume as your ranking or your ranking system goes up, I presume the weapons are going to get better. But obviously that's something that obviously we'll have to see when the game comes out. He also has foundry orders. Now what foundry orders allows you to do is actually go through, order a weapon, and then on the Wednesday, the day after reset, the weapon will be there for you to collect. Now they will show you what the Suros disc is like. One of them already done it beforehand, and it was sitting in his account, so we'll fast forward to that part in a sec. But this allows you to go through, and if you're not in a hurry for a weapon, obviously to go through and to order something. So you never know, there might be something in there that's somewhat half decent. You want it, instead of having to find it or farm for it, you can then obviously just simply order it. He does also have the materials and the miscellaneous, so obviously the heavy, the specials, the primaries. He's going to sell his upgrade packs for obviously for your scout rifles and all that, allow you to upgrade your weapons faster. But I'll skip to the video now and show you where they do this. So on this here, they actually go through, they bring in the other controller, and you actually see that that's the thing he's ordered, the Suros disc. He ordered it previously to the Twitch account or the Twitch stream, and there it is there in his inventory with the standard high caliber rounds. Now obviously I presume it's going to be a lot of the old modifiers on the guns. Hopefully there'll be some new ones, but obviously there's a whole stack of new guns, speed reload, hand laid stock. Obviously, you know, you can go through. It looks like you can't reforge weapons anymore, so I'm not sure if that's still going to happen, but that's obviously something that we'll have to check out when the game gets released. Now there is a thing called Infuse on all your, I believe at least legendary items. What this allows you to do is actually go through and actually increase the attack rating on your guns or weapons. Now I'm not sure this also happens on your armor as well, but it allows you to go through and bump that attack rating up. So if you've got a gun that you really like, you've really fell in love with it, you don't want to part with it, you go through, you click on Infuse, you can select other items to dismantle. For example, there's the Artemis D auto rifle. Now that attack is 290. Now if you, obviously the Suros was 280, because he's bumped it up, it now has gone to 288. So I believe it's sort of worked out some mathematical equation to work it out, but he's got most of the attack rating on that. Now I'm not sure if there's a limit as to how much you can infuse, or if there's a max rating on these attack weapons, but that's obviously something that we'll have to check out when the game gets relaunched as well. Apart from that, the last thing I know that everybody wants to know about is vault space. So I'll skip ahead. Now guys, the next thing they're going to look at is vault space. So here he is here. Guys, excellent news. Vault space has been doubled. We now have 72 available slots per weapon, armor, general. Vault space has just gone through the roof. We did call it at Gamers Cafe. I believe in one of my earlier videos I said that they should do this sort of way. I'm not sure if Bungie was listening or not. I highly doubt it, but it seems like we're on the both same sort of wavelength. They've gone through and they've got pages. Now up the top you can see, if you use your tab button, you'll switch between weapons, armor and general. General obviously is stuff like emblems, ghosts, etc. Sparrows, etc. Materials. You do have 2 pages per section. So obviously on this one it does say 23 out of 36. So obviously with the generals, obviously you only got 36. But weapons and armor went up to 72, allowing us to all to carry more guns, and you got 2 pages per vault, per section. Very last thing guys, obviously now they're showing off the emotes. I believe these are the new emotes that you can purchase if you're already a Destiny player. For anybody new, obviously if you buy the right packs, you will get these emotes as well. They don't look too bad actually, I must admit, I quite like them. But I believe this is the one that the experienced Destiny players can buy for about $20. So guys, look, this is obviously it. Wrapping it up now. Let me know in the comment section below, did you like it? Are you happy with all the changes? What issues have you got? I don't like the fact that all my legendary guns, my old ones, are going to be useless. I would have loved to have brought Fang over, maybe some way to upgrade it to the new system. Apart from that, I love everything else. I love the new vault space. I love the exotic blueprints. Let me know in the comment section below what you think. If you like the video, hit a thumbs up. If you don't like the video, then I'm sorry. But apart from that, guys, look, obviously subscribe for more Destiny content, and I hope you enjoyed this sort of breakthrough or the walkthrough on the Destiny Twitch. We will be trying to keep up to date on all this stuff, guys. I believe there's another Twitch stream happening soon, so we'll also go through and do a breakdown, as long as this one doesn't get taken down for copyright notice. Fingers crossed. Have a great night, guys. Enjoy. Hope you have a great night.